Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with Chris Leader from Calliope Games. We'll be talking about Hive Mind by Richard Garfield. And I suppose I should ask right away, is this a new version of What Were You Thinking? Because the description makes it sound like that for me. So I want to get this just in here. Maybe you explain the game and then
yes. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing about, he designed What Were You Thinking more as a trivia game.
Right.
And he wanted to break away from that and design something that is a non-trivia trivia game. So that's what this is all about. So we'll take it through, and then you can tell me if he's gotten away from that or not.
Okay.
So the narrative of this game is the queen of this wonderful hive has decided it's overcrowded. The winter is coming. There's not enough food to feed everybody.
It's her own fault.
She would never admit that.
That's right, and no one else would either.
No, you don't. You see, if you want to make it less crowded, go ahead and argue with the queen.
That's right.
So what she's decided to do is test the drones. She's going to ask questions and see if you think like her. Okay. Whoever can think alike can stay in the hive. If you are not thinking alike, you are going to move down through the hive, and finally you will be booted out.
Okay.
And once someone is booted out, everybody else cheers because they win the game. So once someone or a couple people, if they go out at the same time, are out, everybody else wins.
Okay.
So the test that she's going to give is going to go like this. First off, the player whose turn it is will roll the die, and they will move the queen a number of spaces up along here.
Okay.
The reason for that is this shows basically how many low scores are going to move down a level. In the beginning, a lot of times it's just one. And this is how the actual test is going to work. The player who moved the queen will now draw a card, and they will choose one of the questions. These are double-sided, and there's 3 questions on each, or you can actually make up your own questions. One of the things Richard loves is content generation, so make up your own questions if you want to. But let's say I decide to ask, what are 3 movies people consider classics? Everybody now takes their pencil and their paper, and this is prototype components. These will actually be, the sheets are much bigger and the pencils are full size. They say Hive Mind on them because they look pretty.
Right.
So everyone will take their pencil and paper and they will write, what are 3 movies people consider classics? Now the thing is, this is not a trivia game. This is about the experiences and opinions of the people you're playing the game with. Okay. So if I know, for example, that you love Star Wars, I might say, oh, he's going to say that the classics are Star Wars and Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
That's right.
However,
nothing else is on his mind.
You might think, well, Chris loves Back to the Future more than anything in life, which is
I have
true.
Heard that.
Sorry, wife. So you might say Back to the Future 1, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3. Meanwhile, that guy over there might say Ben-Hur, Spartacus, 10 Commandments. And this guy over here might say the Godfather trilogy, and she might say this. So everyone puts something else, but the thing is, you need to be thinking about everybody else. So now if you've thought about Back to the Future and put my answers,
right?
But if I was thinking about what you loved and put yours, they might not match, and it promotes these great laughable conversations. We're like, why did you write that? You're the Harry Potter fan. You're the Star Wars fan. Like that kind of a thing. So it's a lot of fun. It's all about the people you're playing with, what you think they're going to say. So you have to be, what is this person going to think? If you don't know the people you're playing with, you kind of go a little bit vanilla at first to see what are they like. We played this at a restaurant once.
It's like meeting people in general.
Yeah, exactly.
You always you tiptoe around certain topics until you find out whether you can.
We played at a restaurant with people we never played before. We met them. We said, you got to try this game. We sat down. We didn't know them.
Right.
And so when we asked questions, I went really tame, and they went really raunchy. So the next round, I'm like, I guess I need to go raunchy. I guess these people are raunchy people. So it's the crowd you're playing with. You get to know them that way. So as when you go to score, though, you write your answers down. You get a point for every answer that you've written. So if it's what are 3 movies, as long as you wrote 3 movies, you got 3 points. Okay. But you also get a point for every matching answer that you gave to somebody else.
Okay.
So if I said Star Wars and you said Star Wars and she said Star Wars, boom, we got 3 points for that. Okay. Then whoever has the lowest score, once you've tallied all that, is going to move 1 level down in the hive. And as you go through the track here, you'll notice that there's some that have 2. So the 2 lowest and then 3 lowest are all going to go down. Now, if it's a tie for the lowest, the people who tied count as 1B. Right. So they are moving down together. So when you get down here to 3, you can have a bunch of people with ties so that suddenly this whole group is moving down 1. And if you get down to a level where there's these Hive gates, it's a bit of a catch-up mechanic. So if someone would go down there, you would remove the gate instead, and they stay put, and then other people can come down. So these are a little bit of a catch-up mechanic, but really the heart and soul of the game is asking those questions, trying to think like everybody else. Sometimes it's really wicked. It'll be like, what is the greatest month? And it's only one answer. So people are like, what's the greatest month? And then you're really thinking, what do they think? If maybe someone had just said, boy, I love June. This weather's the best. It's my favorite month. And you're like, well, I know I can match that answer.
Right. So
that's Hive Mind. That's what it's all about.
Okay. You got a honeypot.
Honeypot. So the honeypot is the one chance for you to move back up. So the player who has the highest score, I should say, gets to move up. But since there's a B on there, there's still going to be someone who's moving down. So that's you can have someone who's way down at the bottom about to go, and if you land on a honeypot, they might have a brief reprieve where they can move up through the hive a little bit.
Okay.
Get the queen's favor.
All right.
So it's
similar. It's what were you thinking in spirit in terms of matching other people? But there's a little bit more with sort of the scoring and harrowing down and the risk that you're
and we spent a lot of time on the questions, just making sure there was nothing there that anyone would be turned off if they were not someone who wanted to do any kind of trivia. So Richard was fantastic. He gave us tons and tons of questions to go through, and he had all these different categories. Right. And for Calliope, being that we're kind of a gateway, filler, family, we went with real general questions and things. I mean, they go in all different categories. There's a little bit of sports, there's a little bit of movies and books and things like that, but we really went for questions that anyone could answer.
Right.
And when you get a question like, what are 5 things you remember about kindergarten, and you're playing with a first grader, and you're playing with a grandmother, their memory of what kindergarten was can be really different. So it's a lot of fun.
Right.
So it really is a game that can span a lot of different ages, and no one feels left out because they kind of apply to everyone. And there's no wrong answers. It's just all about matching up those answers. They can be as wrong as they can be.
Other people are going to tell you put that in the wrong answer.
What are the 3 longest rivers? That kind of thing.
Right.
You can be totally wrong, but you're right if you matched with somebody.
That's right. Okay. That's good. I mean, I'm not saying it's like what were you thinking in a bad way. I'm just saying I know people love that game, and it's been out of print for 20 years. So.
I'll put it this way. If you love what Richard came up with for What Were You Thinking, this is definitely a spiritual successor to it, and it's something that I've heard that from people who played What Were You Thinking. I never actually got to play that one, so I just enjoyed this on its own merits, and I had people coming up and saying, this reminds me of that, but they had a ball playing it, so I'm glad that there's something out there that can scratch that itch.
That was one of those titles that, I mean, it came out in, I think, 96. So I think it was sort of like Wizards of the Coast is be like, whatever you want, Richard. You want whatever. Yes. As they're like bathing in all their magic money.
Scrooge McDuck swimming.
That's right. Whatever. Have at it. Sure. So, okay. Thanks for the overview.
I should say this. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Prototype components. We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
These very boring pieces here are actually going to be beeples, B-shaped meeples.
Okay.
And it's going to sweep the nation. The Beeple craze, Beeple mania.
Okay.
I'm just saying, there's going to be a lot of buzz.
Get out. Get out.
Sorry.
Get out. Get out.